Good evening. Hi. So I prepared a speech this evening, but before I start my speech, I just want to say that I am so touched by what you are all doing here this evening. It's so important. And I wish that when I was a young girl growing up in South Central Los Angeles, that I had a place like this that I could call home, because it's very lonely and tough when you're growing up in South Central LA or any area that doesn't have the proper support and love to nurture a growing child. So this is, when you are asked to join and be a part of certain events, you're not quite sure what you're getting into until you get there. And I'm like, I was almost about to cry. And that's not acting. So, good evening, Kuwait American Foundation, national ambassadors, parents, teachers, and dignitaries. I am so very honored to share this evening with you. It gives me great pleasure to acknowledge the national ambassadors of the Do the Right Thing Challenge. National ambassadors, can you please stand? Doesn't that feel so good? Don't sit down. I didn't say y'all could sit down yet. I want you to hear me. I want you to enjoy this moment. Keep your heart open and continue to do what you do. You accepted the challenge. You shared your stories, and you were selected from thousands of students to be honored tonight for speaking up and representing your communities. Your stories are heartfelt and passionate, detailed and personal. You offered inspiring insight, and I believe that your courage will be contagious. I hope that you understand the power you have tapped into for anti-violence by simply putting your words and your stories on paper. Congratulations. You can sit now. I know, it's getting long. They're like, woo, thank God we can sit. But I'm not done yet. You are our future leaders, influencers, the game changers, and I'm proud of each and every one of you. While it is so very important for us to take the time to acknowledge and celebrate you this evening, you must ask yourselves a very important question. What next? Youth violence is caused by many different factors, some of which are out of your control, most of which are out of your control. You cannot decide which parents you were born to, what neighborhood you live in, or what opportunities are available to you or your parents. You cannot predict if you'll be the victim of a violent attack, or if your name will become a trending hashtag. However, what you can do is control how you decide to react in any given situation. You always have the choice of being part of the problem or part of the solution. You always have the choice to empower yourself and those around you. Before I became the Nia Long that some of you have seen on the big screen or small screen, I was just a young girl living in the heart of South Central Los Angeles by the way of Brooklyn, New York. I was a latchkey kid raised by a single hardworking mother. I was surrounded by gang violence. I was bullied, and at times I had to resort to schoolyard fights to protect myself. I remember feeling afraid and unprotected, hopeless and sad. I was always looking for a way out of the hood, a place to feel safe, and a real home, a real community. My mother did her best to utilize her higher education, but we never seemed to have enough of anything to secure much beyond what was needed to survive in the moment. Oftentimes, I would hear my mother cry because she wasn't sure if the lights were going to be on the next month, or how she would pay the rent if something came up unexpectedly which required additional money besides her fixed income. Times were indeed tough. And I remember one day, I was about maybe 15 years old, and I was really struggling with trying to fit in and find a group of friends that felt caring and loving and supportive of just me as a young girl. And my mother sat me down and she told me, "Nia, your name means purpose, life purpose. You can do whatever you want in this life. Our circumstances don't have to define who you are or the woman who you choose to become." At the core of my mother's teachings was decision-making, accountability. She empowered me to make my own decisions and also to take responsibility for them. Now, as a mother of 2 boys, a preschooler and a teenager, the crusade for nonviolence is even greater and personal to me. As my mother did with me, I strive to raise compassionate, loving, conscious human beings who decide to do their part in making the world a better place. I strive to teach my boys to define themselves for themselves. Tonight, I want to encourage and empower you to do the same, not just because it sounds good, but because it's necessary. Continue to practice making good decisions. It'll be that much easier when it's time to act. Be loving, be kind, be compassionate, stay connected to your truth, stay connected to your heart. To that end, I graciously ask all of you to commit to deciding to do 3 things with me this evening. Can everybody say 3 things? I should ask you to commit because these are really important, but I'm going to read them first and I'll let you decide. But I already know you're going to commit when I'm done. The first thing I want to talk to you about is deciding to use your voice. It is through life's experiences, for better or worse, that we find our voice. Your voice, that little mini you that is always with you. It is there day and night. It is your truth. It instinctively knows what's right and wrong. It loves and protects you in ways nothing else can. It is invaluable. The world we live in is loud. It's full of distractions and sometimes full of hate and crimes and challenges and sadness. When you are faced with any of these challenges, it is even more important to use that voice. You'll need to use your voice when you see something being done that you don't like, when you see something that is unfair, when you see someone being bullied. You'll need to use that voice when you are really uncomfortable and intimidated to speak about something that may be unpopular to say. And down the line, you'll need to use that voice to navigate through high school, college, work, and parenthood. You must continue to use your voice and speak out against violence. You must continue to honor the commitment you made even when the ceremony is long over and you have returned to your respective communities. Become an expert at using your voice and using it for good. Speaking out can save someone's life. Next, this is my favorite part. Sorry, I just get excited because this is really important to me. Next, I encourage you to activate your heart. Everything I do from right here. whether it's parenting, being here, talking to young people, teaching my children, helping an old lady across the street. If we took the time to consciously activate our hearts, think about how much sweeter this world would be. It is through your heart that magic happens. Trust yourself, own your power, and spread the love by activating your heart. Activate your heart by setting an intention and put it into motion. We have to train ourselves to have a heart that beats to care about others, not just through emotions, but through our actions, our deeds, and our enterprises. It is active love, empowered love, that combats the tragedy. It is active love, empowered love, that combats the tragedy of violence. This is a thrilling way to live. An activated heart is a solution-oriented one. It finds ways to reach other people, including victims and perpetrators of violence. I am imploring you to decide to activate your heart. But lastly, I urge you to use your power. Organize a movement. When I say a movement, you might be imagining streets filled with people, all of them shouting or peacefully stating a message. Sometimes that's what a movement looks like, but not always. I'm encouraging you to take the next step and organize one. Movement is momentum in motion. It is action. It is progress. It is forward thinking. From the stories you've shared, I know each of you has the power to be a movement that will affect and support many. All of the causes and campaigns, from messages against bullying or cancer awareness, ending police brutality, they were all started by an individual dedicated to a purpose and then finding small and daily ways to involve other people. They used their power, their passion, their hearts to make a difference. For you, use your written message as a start. Create a goal, or both. Then take steps towards showing up in places and spaces where the message needs to be heard, usually amongst friends and families initially. And then as your message and your plans become more clear, invite those who care about what you care about to get involved, and eventually more people will find their way towards you. All of you have shown enough leadership to use your power to organize a small movement that can one day make a huge impact. You are sitting here in this room, selected from thousands of students across the nation who submitted their own compelling and important essays. But it's not just those present who are a part of your anti-youth violence network. All of those other students are part of your network as well, and maybe one day you'll meet them along your journey. All of you share the desires to disarm youth violence. All of you have opened your heart to sympathize and empathize with others. I hope your commitment, however personal it may be, is open-hearted and heart-activated towards involving others. Your life in the future will be full of tough decisions. And unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily get easier as you get older, although it should. but deciding to use your voice, deciding to activate your heart, and deciding to use your power will not only impact your peers, schools, and communities in a positive way, you will see magical changes happen before your eyes. You will inspire others to do the same. You will be courageous and contagious. Your potential, should you decide to use it, is limitless. Recognize that the celebration of your winning essay is the beginning of something that can change lives if you decide to. So I appeal to you tonight, take another pledge to commit to some very important decision-making. Decide to use your voice, decide to activate your heart, decide to use your power. I think what impresses me the most is that while I have given this speech, it is you who has provided everything that I've detailed. It was your words that provided the inspiration for mine. The only thing that should amaze you more than what I've done thus far is what you will do tomorrow and the days and the years to follow. So again, I ask, what's next? And I cannot wait to see how you can continue to answer that question. With an open and active heart, I thank you so much for tonight and inviting me to be here with you. God bless you.